Howdy. So, I'm gonna pull the motor on the Miata today. Don't really have well, I do have a reason, but something kind of just got into me. I was just like, you know what? We got a couple weeks. I'm not under quarantine or anything. My dad is. He actually got tested because he's been having symptoms, so he's waiting for his test results, but in the meantime, he's technically quarantined. So, if he is, then I have 2 weeks because I can't go back to work since we share the same lot. My boss just wants to play it safe and doesn't want me to come in. And then with that stimulus package stuff, it'd be covered under something that, I don't know, whatever. Either way, I might have 2 weeks ahead of me to do stuff with the car. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to pull the motor on the Miata, prep it for boost, because I plan on boosting it. Obviously, I'm going to boost this 1.6, run it for a while. If it blows up, it blows up. If it blows up quickly, I'll swap in another Miata motor. If it blows up in like a year or two, then that'll give me time to save up for a case swap and stuff. So yeah, today I'm gonna take it around the block really quick because I also have to get the Integra out so that way I can put this back there. So that way I have both cars accessible, the Del Sol and the Integra to drive if I need them. And so I still have a fun car. And yeah, so we're gonna pull the motor on the Miata today. We're gonna be, after the motor's out, not necessarily today, but in general, I'm gonna be cleaning up the engine. There's that good old Speedo cable. But yeah, so I'm gonna be cleaning up the engine, and then I'm going to be stitch welding the engine bay, painting the engine bay to match the rest of the car because I have leftover paint and clear. And yeah, just gonna be pretty, I don't know, general. I just want to clean everything up, get the motor ready for boost. I'm gonna throw some new gaskets in it. I have to obviously weld a bung on the oil pan, so that way I can have my oil return, but you can't do that with the motor in the car. So I'm gonna pull the motor because you have to kind of drop the subframe to do it if it's in the car. And I plan on welding a bung. I don't want to be like other people that just you know, use one of those compression style fittings or just like drill and tap into the pan. I want to do it a more solid way. Well, we got it back from our little drive. So I've seen it, a couple people, I've done some research, watched some videos on people that do this. Obviously pulling the motor is not so much the hard part. I just wanted to have clarification of everything that I have to like disassemble, you know, and whereabouts it was. And a lot of the people are taking the fenders and the bumpers and stuff and the headlights out, partially so they don't damage it, partially for more room because the headlights do take up quite a bit of room. But I also have to take the fenders off anyway because I'm going to be stitch welding along the frame rails and on the outside around here where fender braces usually go. So, you know, that'll give me some time. I'm going to get the car up on jack stands, and I don't think I really have to take the wheels off. I'll probably take the fronts off so that way I can get the under tray cover off. But yeah, I'll just get the car up, get the bumpers off, then that'll give the car time to cool off, and then we'll start draining fluids, pulling connectors. Car's up on the stands, got the front wheels off so I can get my service cover off just because I need to give that a good scrubbing. So yeah, I already kind of gave you guys a rundown. I'm going to throw you up on a time lapse, get this front end disassembled, and get to work. So I think it's pretty much ready to come out now. I gotta say, you know, pulling this Mazda stuff or the Miata get up. All of it is probably twice as hard as getting it out of the two Hondas and stuff. I don't know, like everybody says these things are so easy to work on until you actually have to dig down in here and start moving stuff like harness. Like there's no way to get access to like majority of this crap without really giving it a good fight. So I got the drive shaft disconnected, got the little shifter cover inside taken out. Obviously the radiator's out. I took the sway bar out, disconnected all the harness on this side, I believe. Disconnected all the hoses, all the harness on this side. I couldn't get the belt off, so that way I could pull the power steering pump off and hang it over the side. So I just pulled the lines, but I think I'm gonna end up replacing these anyway because these smaller ones are pretty worn out. And yeah, so now I'm gonna go grab my hoist really quick, chain it up and see if I can't start dropping it. Gotta obviously loosen the motor mounts. It's the only thing holding it in, hopefully, as of this moment. And power plant frame is disconnected. It's kind of on there, but I think it should slide out just fine. But yeah, this has been no easy feat, but should be ready. So I'm gonna go grab my hoist really fast and get this chained up. So it should be ready to come out. I just undid the motor mount nuts, got the engine hoist chained up. So let's kind of see what happens.
All I want is round, yeah, round, yeah. Found you, did it all alone, looking down your phone. No, yeah, found you, did that spotlight, that all I want is
Well, this thing's finally out. That was definitely a lot more difficult than I think it should have been and or could have been, but it's out. I think when I put this back together though, like put it back in the car, I'm definitely going to be separating the engine from the transmission because I could barely get this thing out as is, so I don't really get how you're supposed to get this back in with it all together. But it looks like there's so much room, so much more room than there actually is, but I got bags over the AC lines and the power steering lines, so that way hopefully I don't get any moisture and stuff in there. Obviously the refrigerant's going to get charged anyway, or evacuated when I put it all back together. And power steering lines, you have to bleed them anyway. You know, if you've never done that before, it's pretty easy. You just fill that, turn the wheel a little bit, you're good. But besides the point, now I can start cleaning up in here. I'm gonna just soak everything down really good with like degreaser, power wash it out because I got a little power washer over there. And same thing with the engine. I do have to figure out something. I'm gonna have to like put a bag over this and then find something to stuff the holes with. I'll probably just throw some bags in there. But yeah, I gotta get some caps for the AC compressor too. I got some at work. I just gotta grab some. But yeah. So, shoot, now that this thing is out, I really just want to kind of go to town on it. Might buy a shifter rebuild kit. I'm going to need some engine mounts because this one's totally destroyed. So I think I'm going to look into getting some AWR mounts. I know they make aftermarket polyurethane ones that are supposed to be really nice. So this one's just clapped out. And yeah, now I guess I'll get to cleaning up some of the wiring, just kind of moving it out of my way. I'm not going to do so much of the tuck as I am gonna just clean it up, relume it, you know, like retape it, pull back all this crap and just clean it up, make it look nicer. And yeah, get to clean it up so that way I can start stitch welding probably tomorrow. With the car pushed back now, I guess I gotta go run some errands right now, but when I get back, I suppose pretty much all I can start doing is I'm gonna, like I said, not redo the wiring, but I'm gonna pull it out of the way, unbolt stuff that I can just hang over the sides, and that way I can start getting access to all this seam sealer and start getting that out of there so that way I can start welding. But before I do any of that, or at least before I start grinding stuff down, I'm gonna get in here and wash that all out. This is exhausting to say the least. obviously day has turned into night, and I'm still working on this. I'm actually about to call it a night right now, go eat some dinner and just wind down. It's already 8, 9 o'clock. Gave this a solid 10-hour day so far. But yeah, let me show you what I got done so far. So here we are with some of the wiring, or most of the wiring pretty much out of the way. I've got all the harness on this side. I don't think I'll be wire tucking. I haven't really decided yet because I really don't want to have to pull the dash because my dash is kind of beat up, and I don't want to break it because don't really know where to find another one. And I think the NB dash might be a direct swap in, and there's 2 at the junkyard, so who knows. If it comes down to it, I'll do it. But if you guys know, then there's normally some blue harness stuff going along here. I found out that's all the airbag stuff. My airbag harness was chewed through over there, partially chewed through in this corner. I don't even have a factory steering wheel anymore because I put the quick release on here. So I don't need any of the airbag wiring. So I found that it actually comes through. There's an grommet right here that holds it in, and then it's zip tied along here. And up in here, it has these little boxes, and I believe they're impact sensors. So they look like these. So I took them off on both sides. That gives me room to wire tuck if I want to, like the headlight harnesses along the frame rails here. But pretty much got most of the wiring out of the way here. The fuse box I got slung up here because this is all such a mess. Like trying to keep everything stock, AC, power steering, and all that makes this even more difficult because that gives me less room to work with. But trying to make this look nice is just difficult. So I'm gonna work with what I got. I'm not gonna go crazy with like show car status because this car is gonna be getting used and abused. So I think for paint in here, I'm gonna obviously give it a scuff. I'll probably rattle can it, and then I'll shoot it with clear out of a gun because I do have clear coat left over from when I painted the car. So that shouldn't be an issue. But as for like laying paint, it's going to be super hard to get paint up in all the corners and stuff out of the gun in this situation without me taking the clutch master out, without me taking the booster out, without me pulling the lines off the firewall and everything. So I'm going to just kind of gently bend everything out of the way as I can, remove the windshield wiper motor, and then yeah, I mean, I can really only do so much because I'm not trying to go for a show car, but part of me wants to, part of me doesn't want to. I know some of you guys may want me to, but I'm Nova Sea Garage, and I'm also impatient, so I'm gonna just, I don't know, I guess I'll see where tomorrow takes me, you know? See how long it takes me to get the seam sealer removed and get all this cleaned up, and I guess go from there. But as of right now, goal is clean it all up, obviously, rattle can, clear coat, clean up the wiring, call it good. Moved on to the next day. So today, I think, at least for the rest of this video, since I want to do this kind of in sections, so the wiring, not whatever, you know what I was saying in the last clip. So that stuff will be next video, but for now, I'm going to try and get the transmission and the engine cleaned up a little bit so I can kind of get a better idea of what I'm working with in terms of like leaks and stuff. The transmission is just dirty. So I got some engine degreaser here. I bought a bunch of brake cleaner, you know, a little metal brush. I got a little pressure washer over there, so I'm going to try and get this cleaned up. Transmission actually came out pretty good. It's still a little bit in some of the tighter creases, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. So I think I'm gonna call that pretty much done. I'm gonna have to move the Miata to get the engine out. Darn.
So I'm gonna pull the Miata forward, just push it forward because it's already puking power steering fluid. So let's pull this forward, and I'll just soak this down some degreaser quick. I'll scoot the harnesses out of the way, and then just for some aesthetic pleasure for the video, I'll give this a power wash, and then probably end this video out for you guys. Came out pretty clean. Definitely, I don't even know how the paint fades in spaces like there under the headlight and stuff like that, where it sees like pretty much no sun or really hardly any heat, but you know, whatever. It's clean. Subframe is pretty clean. I'd give it like an 80-ish%, but my back's hurting from leaning over in this thing, so I'm not really for that. Should be alright though. But on that note, I'm going to end the video off here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to like the video. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you've considered subscribing. And next video, we'll be looking out for, well, actually doing some stitch welding. I'm going to start wire wheeling away and getting the wiring sorted out maybe in the next video after that. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Be sure to do what you love, forget about the rest, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Stay safe, stay sanitized also. Social distancing. Peace.